You know what? I might grab a shepherd's look. Oh, we had one here. I'll leave the jazz for today. Yeah, maybe it'll be nice. I can always give you a lift home if you want. That's okay. I'll follow through on my plan. It's nice trying to know, like, how to start biking. You got a good sidewalk. You got a good deal for your location. Yeah. All right. Oh gosh, it's already 59. Just start this Instagram live. Checking connection. We are live. So I'll just do it this way today. Facing us. I did that yesterday. It seemed to work fine. Oh, clever. There we go. Oh, we got some people already. I'm not so formal today. I got my hat on and a t-shirt, no button up.
It's casual, whatever day it is.
It is casual. All right, so we're gonna give it a few minutes, guys. We've got some waves here. What's up, guys? Hopefully everyone's excited for today. Today we're gonna do a lot of discussion on like sitting. If you're sitting for a long time at work, I know a lot of people are at home due to this whole crisis. So yeah, kind of help out with any issues with neck and back pain. We also had requests for tension headaches, so I thought this would be a good time to kind of work in those things. And they go kind of hand in hand, so we can cover both topics, I think, in a pretty efficient way. So we have Instagram over here, and then we have Zoom over there. Currently nobody on Zoom yet, but I think most people prefer Instagram. But we use Zoom just so we can record the stream, and that way people can access it a little bit later. I gotta get Rob in view here. So yeah, so we record it. We have a link for the videos. That way you can watch it whenever you like. I know some people do watch it after, which is good. Yeah, we got some people excited for this. So we'll give it a couple more minutes, I guess, then we'll get started. Yeah. Any questions from anybody for like something not physio related, something fun maybe? What's everyone doing for it's not social isolation anymore, it's distancing, right? You can't say isolation.
I'm not sure exactly.
I don't know. Rob and I were talking about how babies and animals are benefiting so much. People spending so much more time with their kids and with their dogs and cats and stuff. So I wish I had a dog, that's for sure. So we got a few people on. Good, got some more people joining. So we'll give it I guess a couple more minutes and see how it goes. We got some waves. Maybe I'll close the blinds over here. Shut the blinds, close, whatever you're supposed to say.
Beautiful.
There we go. And Rob was pretty ambitious today. He actually ran here from home. How cool is that? What an active guy. He's an active gear.
Google Maps lied to me about the distance. It was further than Google said. So
Google's supposed to be right. What are we going to do without Google? The whole world will fall apart. More than
accidental coach, just pushing my goals more than
pushing your buttons.
More than I planned to. Pushing my buttons.
So look, and then we got some people on Zoom. Can you hear me? Allow, record, rename. Okay, we're good. I think can hear. So I'm sure everyone has had some back pain or neck pain or headaches at one point or the other, whether it's migraine, tension, headache. I think it's pretty common. I know for me as a physio, I love my job because typically we're moving and standing a lot. These days, not so much. These days we're sitting, unfortunately, because we don't see as many clients. I did some rehab, which was pretty cool. We offer those services. So for anybody, whether you're in town or out of town, you can contact us and we can do a Zoom meeting so we can actually treat and assess over that platform. So I had an assessment today with a patient that I've been working with for a long time, and it was pretty good. I think it was just like as if I was in person. There were certain things obviously we can't do hands-on, but I troubleshooted and figured out how to do some strength testing on the spot.
Nice.
And I think it's a good thing. So I think people should take advantage of it, and people have more questions. They can always ask us on Rehab. You can direct message us. You can use any of the platforms. You can email. We love answering questions. So yeah, without further ado, I guess we can get started. Anything that you would like to mention first, Rob, while I pull up some anatomy?
No, I don't think so. We'll kind of go through like a similar framework today, talking about the anatomy a little bit, talking about a few conditions, and then yeah, maybe demoing some exercises and hopefully getting to any questions that you guys have as well.
All right, ready to go. So I'm going to move this thing this way. So we have, there we go.
Perfect. So yeah, we'll start with just a little bit of like really basic spine anatomy, just to sort of set a foundation for the rest of the talk. So the spine is made up of these like 4 general segments. So the cervical spine, which is the neck, the thoracic spine, which is the portion of the spine that has the ribs attaching to it, the lumbar spine, which you would think of as being the low back, and then the sacrum and the coccyx, which is kind of forms part of the pelvic girdle, the coccyx being sort of the tailbone. And those areas are still part of the spine. They're a little bit unique in that the segments of those levels are fused together to form what kind of acts more like one solid bone, rather than the rest of the spine, which is made up of the vertebrae with the squishy intervertebral discs in between them. So as far as the spine goes, like all parts of it are kind of like bent at any given time. So we talk about lordosis and kyphosis as being kind of descriptors for those bends in the spine. So in the neck, for example, you're going to have typically a lordosis, or kind of like a back bending, or yeah, if you can see my finger there. So it'll kind of be like a concavity at the back of the neck, typically. And in the T-spine, the thoracic spine, you're going to have the opposite. So we call that a kyphosis, which is, again, I guess the opposite. So it's going to be sort of like a convex curve, looking at it from the back, or appreciating it from the back. And then in the lumbar spine, again, we have that lordotic curve, or that the concave curve. And then again, getting down into the sacrum and coccyx. So that's kind of the natural resting posture of the spine. Yeah, that serves a few different functions, but you can kind of imagine that there's a little bit of sort of a shock absorption built in that way, in that it has a little bit of a curve. It's able to sort of move and accommodate loads that way. Yeah, those again are kind of our typical healthy curves, but we can have like either excessive normal curves. So for example, this picture like way on the right hand side here, this is kind of demonstrating like an excessive lumbar lordosis. So again, we're expecting to have some degree of lordosis in the low back. This picture is showing kind of like an exaggeration in that curve, which could be problematic. In the thoracic spine again here, like our middle picture on the right hand side, some kyphosis is going to be normal, but in this case we have a really like excessive kyphosis, and we'll kind of talk about this as being kind of a typical like desk worker posture at the same time. In the neck or in the cervical spine, we'll sometimes talk about the kind of the upper neck and then the rest of the neck as potentially having different movements going on at the same time. So if you can kind of see this guy on the far left here, So his neck, we can kind of see it has less of that typical kind of lordotic posture, and it's straightened out somewhat. So if that were to happen by itself, it's going to mean that instead of looking horizontally, like maybe at his screen in this picture, he's going to be sort of looking towards the floor because his neck is more forward rounded than kind of back rounded. So in this case, people are often going to, and if we kind of hop over to the right picture in the middle here, they're going to tend to extend from the upper neck or kind of tip the skull backwards on top of the neck to sort of maintain that horizontal gaze. And we'll talk about how that has impacts for muscles in the back of the neck and head, as well as the front of the neck there too, with kind of excessive shortening and tightness back here, and often excessive lengthening and weakness in the front. And then the other curve that you hear about all the time is like a scoliotic curve, or what we call scoliosis. And this is looking at this person from the back now, rather than from the side, and seeing that there's kind of like a deviation or a deflection laterally for this person. So that's a whole different type of curve. They're normal to some extent, but not as typical as your like lordosises and kyphosises. Yeah, anything to add to that?
No, I think that's pretty good. Maybe we'll get Rob to sit on a chair. We got an office chair here. How convenient is that? So many of you may have office chairs at home, and the thing is, like, we're not trying to tell people to buy expensive chairs and things like that. You can do slight modifications at home pretty easily to manage your posture. So you can see Rob sitting pretty okay here. Like, you can see the curvature of his spine, right? You got the lordosis in the neck. So let's say it's fast forward 2.5 hours. Rob's been working, sitting at a computer screen. Computer screen is probably right here, yeah, somewhere. And you can see that he's rounded his shoulders a bit, right? So right here, you can see that the shoulders are sitting a bit more forward than, let's say, his earlobe for a good point of reference. His upper back is rounded a bit, and then you can see a bit of that lordosis we're talking about in the neck. He's poking his chin forward. And his low back as well is pretty flat, which is what we don't want. So let's say in this chair, relatively straightforward, you can get him to bring his shoulder blades back and extend his, kind of like if you have a pole or a string going through your whole body, you can kind of imagine that you're pulling that string up and you straightened up his posture there. So that looks pretty good. Again, very hard for someone to do this all day. Like, we're expected to shift forward a little bit. You just have to catch yourself. So we always tell people to maybe set a timer on their computer to remind them of posture, just a pop-up that comes up for posture to straighten up, bring your shoulder blades back, and things like that. That looks pretty good. How does that feel, Rob?
Feels great.
Your back pain
is a little bit of work though, right?
Your back pain is now gone, right? So
it is.
that's what we want to do. I mean, like, you could lean back a little bit and get some rest. So I mean, to sit like this all day is going to be difficult, but we expect people to like get those corrections, right? So the idea is to correct yourself. It's not to sit like Rob was just sitting for 8-9 hours. It's going to be hard to do that all at once, and it could cause a bit more pain because you're using muscles that you don't normally use. And let's say if your chair doesn't have, like, this chair has decent lumbar support. We are a physio clinic, so we did order some decent chairs. So what you could do is, let's say if you need some more lumbar support, lumbar meaning low back, support meaning, well, giving it some support, you can grab a towel or a roll. Towels are cheap, you have them at home, so you can put them right into that curve of the low back and use that and position it as you feel comfortable. It should give you a little bit of support. It shouldn't hurt, it shouldn't be pushing you forward. How does that feel, Rob?
Feels good.
That's good. He has to say that, so he doesn't have a choice. So yeah, you can get quite a bit of support that way. So that's some easy things you could do at home in order to help with your posture and alleviate some of the issues. And I'm gonna flip this around here.
Yeah, and that's also true for people who are in their vehicles a lot. Like at home, it's easy to change up your chair or even to like get up and move around a little bit. But if you're on the road a lot, maybe you're like in traffic, you can't always pull over and take a 15-second like stretch break. That's where, again, you can use like a towel here and there to kind of get creative with your seating arrangement in your vehicle too.
Yeah. Sorry about the, I always forget about Zoom. We have two things going on right now. So sorry to the people on Zoom for, if you couldn't see that. I think you could.
I think I
I
was
think your
hanging on the edge
vantage
of the
point was
screen.
pretty good. Yeah. So that's a few things about sitting posture right there. It's easy ways to change things up to help with your posture. And that kind of goes into some of the injuries that we're going to talk about. So we're not going to be going over injuries specifically in terms of like carpal tunnel or like thoracic outlet syndrome or anything like that. We're going to talk about some muscle imbalances and things like that. Some tight muscles, you can call them, that can cause some issues and cause that pain, right? So like yesterday, we discussed quite a bit about referral patterns. We did the hip flexor yesterday and common referral patterns. So today we're going to go over some referral patterns for the headaches and things like that. We got Optimize saying, hey guys, hey Optimize, how's it going? Hopefully you're having as much fun as we are in the clinic. Yeah, so we're going to talk about referral patterns and what you can expect with certain muscles causing certain things. So one of the people that reached out to us asked about tension headaches and things like that, how to alleviate them. A good thing to do before even going into it is to understand what's going on. We're not going to get into crazy amounts of detail. There won't be an exam after this, or although we could make one. I'm going to go back to the computer here and show you a couple of things. And the referral pattern. So tension headaches, quite common. I mean, I get them once in a while, and I can do some stretches to alleviate them. So we have on the right there, you have a person there. The names of the muscle is not too big of a deal. Actually, you probably see it now. But you can see there's quite a bit of crossover. So all these muscles here cross over from the shoulder and neck up into the head. So people often ask, hey, why does the neck muscle cause pain, or why does it cause a tension headache? And we typically say, well, if you look at the muscle and how it travels, if it goes right into your head here, you can often get headaches around this area. And there's quite a bit of overlap with the musculature. So certain headaches can come from one or two different muscles. Like there's quite a bit of crossover, which you'll see in the next image. I should probably make slides next time, now that I think about it. So give us feedback on the presentations. We want to make these as best as we can for you guys in these times, and kind of offer as much support as we can to people. So yeah, and then we got this guy.
Screen sharing for Zoom right now?
Oh shoot, no, we're not. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Zoom.
Sorry, Zoom. New share. I think we are actually.
Okay.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay, I think Zoom can see it. Sorry. Yeah. So, and the Zoom, there's a physio student on there, so that person will know everything. So on the left here, we got a couple of different things. So here we have trigger points and referral patterns of the temporalis muscle. So on the side of the head here, you have quite a large muscle, often causes those tension headaches or temporal headaches. I see a lot of it in the patients I work with that have TMD issues. So if I'm treating people's jaws, they typically have headaches in this area or somewhere around it. So you have all these referral patterns. Common ones are kind of right up above the ear, side of the head, can even go into the eyebrow area. The next one is the suboccipital. So you have these muscles right there that can cause headaches in similar areas too. So that's the crossover I was mentioning. That's why it's always good to target multiple muscles when treating these kind of things. Because if you just treat one and that's not the cause, then you're going to have, you're not going to have resolution of symptoms. So that's the referral patterns there with that. And if anyone needs me to clear that up, I can. I think that's all the images we have on this file. Yeah, so we're going to flip over back to video. I'm going to put this right here. And we have some smooth classic jazz playing in the back too, so hopefully it's not getting in the way. Yeah, so that's a few things with the neck, with the low back. with sitting posture, along with some tension headaches. So how to go about determining which kind of headache you have. You can target different muscles. I mean, obviously it's easier to assess in a physio clinic, but at home, I always tell people to play around and release some of the muscles, and we'll show you some of those exercises and see what it does to your symptoms. Yeah, anything to add for that, Rob?
Yeah, I think just to like go over the real basics again, like whenever a joint is kind of away from its neutral resting position. So again, like say we're talking about that upper neck being kind of an extension, that chin poke posture. Often muscles on one side of the joint are going to become tight and sore, and muscles on the other side of the joint are going to become sort of overstretched and weak. That'll kind of like underpin, I think, some of the exercise stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's all about finding some sort of balance.
And even tying it to like hip flexors a little bit.
Yeah.
If you are like sitting all the time, you can imagine like your hips are always in that flexed position. Mm-hmm. So there can be a tendency towards hip flexor tightness for people who are sitting all the time as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. We talked about that yesterday, and it's a really good point, Rob, that you mentioned. Yeah, you can definitely get a lot of issues in that area. So it all kind of ties in. So the cool thing about this is the body's like a chain, right? So you shake one area in a fence, it will transfer to ripple to the rest of it. Or just like, I don't know, using the ocean of water. You always have things affect other areas, sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly. When we sit, it can cause quite a few issues with the neck, back, hips, everything, headaches and stuff like that. So good points to bring up. Any clarification on any of those points, guys? And as you guys think of some questions to ask, there was an individual who reached out to me, direct messaged me yesterday. So yeah, like we were talking about stretching the hip flexor, and this person indicated, well, what do you do in the acute phase? So when it first gets injured, yes, to stretch it right away aggressively, probably not the best idea. So it's kind of monitoring your symptoms. So I'm telling people on this platform and what we're doing is just to listen to your body, right? So if it's a minor injury, stretch it a bit. If it's more serious, then take it easy, rest and do your ice and management like that. So that's the kind of point that I was trying to make yesterday, but maybe there was a bit of confusion. So I just wanted to clear that up. So make sure it's not in the acute phase, so the first week or so, and let the pain kind of dissipate a bit and then start stretching it out, not getting too aggressive with it. Yeah, so that's that one. And then we got exercises. So pretty straightforward exercises to do. A lot of the things with sitting at home for prolonged periods of time is to take regular breaks. So every like half an hour, 45 minutes, get up, stretch for a few minutes and get back to work. So to sit for 8 hours straight would not be good no matter who you are. You'd have to take some breaks, right? So, and that could increase productivity, right? So when you're sore, you might not be as productive. You might kind of get off task a little bit more. So kind of like I do these days, sitting at the front. I'm still at the front desk, by the way. And I was even there before we closed. So I always harass the staff here. So now it's kind of lonely. I talk to, walls and things like that. Sometimes Rob's face appears, even though he's not even here.
That's a good point, just about like getting out of kind of your typical sitting posture too. Like I think when people have like pain with sitting, for example, like maybe neck or back pain with office work, they're always kind of like looking to kind of find that perfect posture where their pain will go away. But I think what has like an even bigger impact is just getting out of that posture. Yeah. Like every 10 or 15 minutes, even just 15 seconds, like every 15 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. You kind of get in the zone or the flow, and then you kind of forget about.
Because like you mentioned, even with that perfect posture, if I'm holding that for 8 hours, it's going to be uncomfortable anyways. Like, there's going to be it up.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're built to move.
Exactly. Yeah. Humans are meant to move, to stand, right? We're meant to bear the weight of gravity. So that's why a lot of the exercises we give out are weight bearing or against gravity. So I think it's important to make those changes in the day and set reminders. A lot of those kind of things, as tedious as they can be, help a lot. So a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to set a reminder on my laptop. And it's crazy because if you get into a project and get pretty into it, then you're going to totally forget about time, which is great. Passes the workday quick, but then you'll be like, actually, wait a minute, my neck hurts or something like that. So that's a good point to bring up. For exercises, we're trying to think of ways to do exercises with minimal equipment, because you're at home or even at work. You're not going to have, some of the nice equipment that you might be used to at the gym. So a couple of different stretches to do to stretch a couple of different areas in the neck would be one called a left scap stretch, or AKA smelly armpit stretch. Interesting name. And then upper fiber, like upper trap stretch. So pretty easy to do. We can get either one of them. We can both demonstrate it. So all you do is you bend the neck to the side and then grab your head on the same side and pull kind of down this way. So what that does is it helps stretch this upper trap muscle out. So if you have a lot of tension in your shoulders or your neck, try doing this. 30 seconds one way. Let's say 30 seconds have just passed. 30 seconds the other way. This is actually pretty tight for me. So 30 seconds, 3 times. Piece of cake to do. Easy, right? So if you have that 5-minute break, instead of checking your phone and getting even more of that bad posture. And that's another issue, is the whole phone usage, right? That could be a whole nother talk. For all the parents out there that try to get their kids to stop using their phones. I sound old now.
Burn your phones.
Get rid of your phones altogether, except when it comes to Instagram Live. So doing that stretch, getting the smelly armpit stretch. So bringing your head. So if I'm stretching my left side, I'm looking down towards my right and pulling down this way and stretching that out a little bit more. In the back of the neck, I feel it. Holding for 30 seconds, going the other way, holding for 30 seconds. And then doing that 3 times on each side. Pretty easy to do, no equipment there. If you're getting a stretch without even doing the overpressure, then you could just hold it to the side. If you get a stretch there, that's good enough. You don't have to pull on it. If it's pretty sore, you probably don't want to pull on it because it might aggravate things a bit. So what you want to do is to just kind of work within the tolerance, right? You want the stretch to be strong, but you don't want it to be painful. Another one you could do, so let's go for the mid-back. If you got some mid-back issues, we talk a lot about the neck and low back, but mid-back, you could just cross your arms, twist one way as far as you can go, holding for 10 to 30 seconds. 30 seconds, let's just keep it consistent, and then going the other way, holding for 30 seconds, same thing. I don't have much mobility, so I get a stretch wherever. You can even go into segmental stretching, so you could, go left elbow to right knee and stretch that way. Get other muscles stretched out, other areas stretched out, and go the other way. Kind of play around and just combine, motions until you find that stretch where you need to get it, right? And where you need to get it is the area that's sore. So you just target that. A lot of different ways to do that. That's 2 things right there, or a few things right there. What you could also do is like a segmental lumbar, so stretching out your low back. So if maybe I gotta lower this down a little bit.
I can do the camera work for this part.
Yeah, sure. I can lower this down. There we go. So doing like a segmental stretch, you could do let's say if I'm going towards my left, I have my arms on the side of my left leg and kind of going down like this until I feel a stretch on the opposite side of my back. So I'll feel this on the right side. Hold for 30 seconds again. Come back up. Go the other way. Hold for 30 seconds. You can even go straight down. Pretty easy to do. All of this has been done with no equipment and, doing it sitting down. So that's pretty straightforward. If you have a wall, actually, we could probably show you this one here. If I turn this around to our wall. So what you could do, hopefully that works, is facing one way, so squaring up one way, putting both hands on the wall and pushing off slightly. So I can twist my hips either way, whatever way I want, and push off the wall and get a stretch that comes right up for me, my low back and my mid back. I have athletes I treat that claim to be very flexible, which they are, and they're like, oh, this is not going to do anything. And yeah, you actually feel it quite a bit. You feel it anywhere in the back. So pushing out, twisting, Yeah. Still wearing the Birkenstocks, by the way. Shout out to the people who were present for I think the first post that we had. So
Socks and sandals.
socks. Yeah, that's not actually I don't know if that's coming back in. Dad hats are coming back in, so might be okay wearing socks and Birkenstocks. So that's a couple things to do for like you got a bit of the neck there, you got some of the thoracic spine, you have a little bit of the lumbar spine. If Rob wants, he can demonstrate some chin tucks if he likes.
For sure, yeah.
I can give you, where did the towel go?
Maybe you can coach me through it.
I can go, there it is. So I can coach you. So I'm going to flip the camera.
Make sure I'm in frame here or not.
I'll take it right to Rob. So Rob's going to do some chin tucks. Ideally, you could do it in bed or a larger surface than this nice stool. So what Rob's going to do is, and you can use a pillow if you like, he's going to roll up a towel and place it right under his neck, right where that curvature of the neck is. And this is a very small motion, so we don't want a significant amount of motion with it. So all he's going to do is tuck his chin to his chest, like so rotating here. Yeah, and then holding it for about 10 seconds. He did it perfectly, probably because he's a physio, but what you want to do is kind of just take the pushing down with the towel. Right? So you want to hinge from kind of in this area. That's where your hinge is, not down here. So if you hinge down further in the neck, you're going to kind of lift your head up. You don't want to do that. So he's just tucking. And I would do this for 10-second holds, maybe 5 to 10 times, see what makes you feel good. So people with tension headaches, try this out. If you have that suboccipital pain in the back of your head, the base of the head, I would give this one a whirl and see how it goes. If it helps things out, then there's your treatment, so you know what to do, right? So we have that one. You can modify it a bit if you like to, whatever's comfortable. Any other points to add, Rob?
No, I love that exercise.
You're just laying there. Yeah, it looks like
that was really good.
It looks like you really like it. So
when we do that one with clients in clinic for the first time, I'll often use like a blood pressure cuff under the neck instead of the rolled up towel. And then as you kind of press the neck down into the cuff in that case, you'll see the needle move as you increase the compression on the cuff portion, and you can kind of get that biofeedback, or call it what you will, to kind of know that you're getting the right movement. So yeah, it's just another spin on it.
yeah, that's a good exercise. You probably don't have a headache now.
No, I feel
no. He probably feels
right now.
He has to feel. We had a professor that always said that. You feel better, right? You kind of have to say yes.
Leading questions.
I won't say this professor's name. a scary figure. No, it wasn't scary. Just very knowledgeable. So another thing, the individuals with tension headaches, a good thing to do is if it's coming from the side of the head, that temporal area, you can actually stretch that muscle out, right? So if I'm going to lift up my calf a bit, don't want to see my total head, my whole head, it's pretty, hat hair is the real thing. So I have my right hand is just pulling kind of up on the head. And the one on the bottom, so my left hand is sliding down slowly down the side of my head and jaw. So what that can do is stretch out the temporal area. So you have my hand sliding right down to about my ear level, and the other hand pulling up a little bit. So that can stretch that area. You got to be careful if you get too aggressive with that. You can increase the headache or cause some more issues. You don't want that. You could do some trigger point release. So if, again, your pain is in these areas, you can push in, localize to that muscle, and then hold, wait for the pain to go away, find the next spot, and so forth. So just like using a foam roller or a ball or something like that, finding those trigger points. Have to be a bit more gentle with these ones because there's not much tissue there. So you
just to clarify, don't use a foam roller.
No, not a foam roller. I mean, just like
I know what you mean.
the theory of the, I should just stop talking. I'll do this all in like interpretive dance or sign language or something like that. We should do an interpretive dance. Except I don't really have the moves. I'm just making sure I'm not missing any questions or anything like that. Okay, good. So another thing you could do with a ball, not a foam roller, is just dig around. So if you have, I mean, these balls are pretty cheap to get. We get them from Tidex, and they're relatively low cost. You can get a lacrosse ball, hockey ball, anything works. So what you could do is just push into those tight areas of the neck, right? So I have a lot of tension in my traps, and I release on a daily basis. So I do this kind of stuff every day. So pushing in, finding a bit of soreness, leaving it there, letting it release, and then going to the next spot. You can go into the base of the neck too. I'd be a bit careful. Don't go too hard. That can cause a headache. Even when I poke too hard, I can feel it radiate into the side of my head. Another thing you can use, and I'll give this to Rob, is you can use that hook. A nifty tool. I have one of these on my coffee table. So I do this every night. So he's pushing into any spot that's a bit tender. So looks like he's found a trigger point. So he's pushing in, holding it, waiting for the pain to go away, whether it's like 10, 20, 30 seconds. If it doesn't get better or gets worse in the same spot, then just move on anyways. Very easy tool to use. You can get into the mid back, you can get into the low back pretty easily. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward stuff to do. Like, I mean, the theme that I find with clients and with even with the presentations we're doing is just consistency, right? Do these things as easy as they are consistently, then you're not going to have as many issues. You're going to find a lot of benefit from things, and don't expect, complete alleviation of symptoms within a day or two. Give it a solid week, keep doing it, and you'll notice daily you're going to feel a little bit better, right? Headaches, again, they may or may not get better with these things. Should be some sort of improvement, but if it's a different type of headache or coming from a different region, then yeah, you might still have a headache, and then it's time to get maybe some more help, right? Like come into a physio or go to your physician. Is it a migraine and stuff like that? So it's important to try these things, monitor your symptoms, and see how it goes. I often tell people to write in a diary instead of saying, "Oh, today was a good day and the weather was good." Just write down, these are my symptoms. I noticed after my morning walk, my headache was better, or sitting and driving in a car made my head and neck hurt more, whatever it is. So those simple things, as simple as they are, you'll notice a trend. Like I often give examples, but I had one client that had this weird type of pain, and she had no idea what it was coming from, what activity, no idea how it started. So she started writing a daily journal, and then realized it was a certain position in yoga that actually aggravated her jaw, which was quite interesting. So it was like the downward dog, I guess, that was causing the jaw pain. So really interesting to see that. And yeah, with that diary, it made it easier. We probably would have figured it out, but it would have took longer if we were just chatting about it. She did her homework, and every time someone actually gets to that diary, there's some sort of like eureka moment, and you find something. I'm sure you probably had those
for sure,
experiences, Rob. Yeah. Any other things to add about any of that?
No,
Cool stories?
So. No.
The magical work you do as a physio? No. Well, you do a lot of vestibular rehab, actually. That's probably something we can chat a little bit about with some of these symptoms. Or
absolutely,
yeah, we can get into a couple. I don't mean to put them on the spot. We didn't write this down to discuss, so you can say a few things. You can say nothing.
Yeah.
You can turn up the jazz music,
and there can definitely be some overlap between. Like the jaw, there's often overlap between like vestibular issues and like upper neck issues, and even neck issues in general. And it can kind of go both ways, where somebody with like a balance disorder might carry a lot more tension in the neck, where they might avoid certain movements that provoke their dizziness. And that, of course, can lead to tension if you're not moving, and if you're kind of more tense all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then like dizziness can potentially be kind of that like cervicogenic type at the same time, meaning coming from the neck. So often we're trying to differentiate to find it. Is this from the neck? Is it from the vestibular system? Is it maybe something to do with the brain? That's a little bit different cause that way too. So yeah, lots of overlap.
That makes sense. Yeah. And that's when we say try some of these things out. If you don't notice the improvements you're looking for, then it could be a different cause, right? It could help you already come to a healthcare professional with some knowledge to transfer to them. Like, hey, I've tried these things, and then that helps the practitioner out too. So I like when patients come in and say, I tried this and this and this and this. It helps us rule in what's going on. So it gets a better diagnosis, like a more accurate diagnosis, I guess, or a better treatment plan, so then you know more details about the person. So yeah, that's kind of what we wanted to talk about in terms of some of the anatomy, reason behind why things occur, the imbalances, the tension, headaches, along with some simple exercises to do. And we can send those exercises to you guys too. So again, I say this all the time, feel repetitive, but you can direct message us, email us. It's all on the Instagram page. If you have any issues, feel free to reach out and I can give you some of those exercises on a different resource or the link even to our whole video. So we save them for about a day on the cloud system, I guess. It only has limited amount of storage. So we save them for about a day. And if it's outside of a day, I still keep them saved on our computer. So I can even start like a Google Drive with people if they wanted to see the videos later. And then also give us feedback too. So either of the above things I mentioned, just make sure you reach out to us. I think I have a question. No, I don't. Yeah, we got lots of people joining up. So sorry guys for people who just joined, individuals who just joined. Oops. We did go through quite a few things. So you can always reach out. You can always watch the video later. I'll put an addition to our story saying, message me for the link. Any questions though? This is my favorite part of all of this. Any questions that you guys have about any of this? Plans for the evening today, Rob?
We're gonna go and my wife made some donuts this morning.
Oh wow!
Like baked, cinnamon sugar, so good. We're gonna go drop some off at her grandma's place.
That's unbelievable.
We'll kind of leave them outside.
Yeah, leave them and run.
Leave them and run.
Make sure you run. That's amazing.
Lysol wipe and everything.
I would have expected donuts here, but you ran here, so.
That's what exactly.
Yeah,
if I hadn't, I would have brought them.
They
I'll
give
bring you some next time.
I shouldn't be eating donuts. I need to lose a couple pounds. What do we have here? Lots of people joining up. Oh my gosh, they missed the whole thing. I mean, no, they didn't. Oops, what happened? What do I do, Rob?
I don't know.
So we have, what are your favorite chin, there we go. What are your favorite chin tuck progressions? And what are your thoughts on neck exercises using TheraBand as resistance? I think I read that right. Okay, so any comments on that? Rob, favorite chin tuck progressions?
Yeah, I mean, a really straightforward progression can just be to take that chin tuck just a little bit further, kind of adding in a little bit of lower neck flexion. With the chin tuck that we described, the back of the head is staying flat on the bench the whole time. So you're not really getting that resistance from kind of gravity working through the weight of the head. But as you start to kind of lift the head away from the bench, and it may not even be kind of getting that physical separation initially, but just kind of tending towards that lift, just to increase the activity in the muscle group in the front of the neck. That's an easy way to get things progressing that way too. Often if you're trying to get the muscle group, the deep neck flexors working, you'll try to get less activation of the more superficial muscles, right? Like the SCM right here, that sternocleidomastoid. So tougher to do on your own, but if you're doing it again with a therapist, they'll often have you sort of palpate that big kind of ropey diagonal running muscle on the side of the neck to make sure that it's not firing excessively during the lift too. So if you find the exercise is too easy, it's possible that the SCM is doing a little bit more work. So that can be just kind of feeling behind the angle of the jaw and making sure that, again, that big kind of bulgy angular muscle isn't doing too much work. And if it is, then just kind of relaxing back, starting again from an earlier version and trying to keep that muscle quiet at the same time.
No, it's good. That's good cueing that people can learn pretty easily and doing it correctly. For me, I think like progression wise, like I always try to get it for people to do in some context in sitting and how to do it with activity. So I'll superimpose whatever you want to call it, an exercise while they're doing that chin tuck. So I'll do chin tuck and then even doing some rows or something like that. So being more functional, right? So I think starting, like Rob said, laying down is a good way to cue yourself to do it correctly, and then to progress from there would be good, right? So again, we're always meant to sit or stand as humans. So if you can do it right laying down and find it pretty easy, then it's time to challenge it a little bit. So those are some progressions without getting into crazy details. The other part was TheraBand as resistance. I don't use that too often with the neck. I might roll up a pillow and get people to, as they lay down, kind of rotate and roll up a pillow or roll up like an incline for resistance. I find like pure isolated movements for TheraBand. I haven't done. I don't know if it'd be a benefit, but I think you can challenge things a bit differently.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. Like I'll use them occasionally, but again, like they don't. I don't know. They just don't come across as being maybe as functional because the neck like typically isn't moving against or like a load that way.
Yeah.
If someone had like maybe let's say they were painful only when they actively had maybe like a side flexion, that kind of a thing, that could be a way of sort of overloading that movement. But
yeah.
Again, I don't think that they're the most functional.
No.
So I don't use them as often as like other neck exercises.
That's fair. I agree with that. I concur. What do we have here? So that should answer that question. We have someone that said, learned some new stuff. That's good. That's important. If I feel a tension headache coming, what can I do to manually alleviate the headache getting worse? So, very good question. If it's like a migraine or aura that you start feeling something like that, that might be a bit more tough to manage. But if it's a headache, you feel a headache coming, what you could do is to do pretty much everything we just discussed. More specifically, doing those chin tucks would be a good idea that Rob demonstrated so well. Doing a lot of the trigger point release within manageable levels, like don't push it too hard or it can speed up the coming of the headache. A lot of those things. And then I always tell people, hey, a lot of people that work on the computer read a lot, they can feel it coming on. So just stop that activity, get up, do something else. These stretches you can do as well, but I find like the trigger point release, the chin tucks, and discontinuing the activity. Oh no. Oh. No. What happened? Shoot. That's not good. Damn it. Apologies. The video on Instagram ended, the live. Oh well. Well,
here we go.
That was my bad. So
that wraps it up.
to the one person on Zoom, the live has a little bit of sorry guys, I'll just wait a couple minutes. Apologies. I knew this before, but live has a feature. I think it's only an hour that it lasts for, so we'll be good from here on out. Apologies again, guys. I didn't want to do that. So, yeah. Hopefully we don't lose everyone. So sorry again to everyone. I will keep track of that. There we go. We got some more people. I will keep track of the time a little bit better next time. 50 minutes is the mark, and then people are probably like me doing some bad posture right now. So the question was what to do when a headache's coming on. And that is going to be to do those exercises. So like I mentioned, right before we got cut off, doing those trigger point releases that we talked about, releasing through some of those muscles. And doing those kind of things. I feel bad. Sorry again, guys. It got cut out. Hopefully the person that asked the question logged back in.
I hope so. Yeah.
Oh, no. I don't think so. But it might take a bit of time. Sorry, guys, again. For everyone who's jumping on, 50 minutes is the time limit for a live feed. Or sorry, an hour. And then it cuts out. So, yeah. So, feel a headache on, do those things. Anything else to add for that?
No, that's perfect. Yeah, I think like activity modification. So if you can figure out like what's setting the headache off, that's kind of the key. Like,
Yeah.
if it's something like neck or head position related, then getting out of that head and neck position. If it's like screen related, and then changing that up, or there's all different kinds of things that can cause that, of course.
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree with that. That is, those are some things that can definitely help. For me personally, like I get headaches pretty quickly if I'm dehydrated. So I'll feel a headache come on, kind of like right now, because I haven't had water in a while. So as soon as I drink the water, like I'm good to go. And I just have to watch for that. If I wait too long, then I got a headache no matter what. So, that kind of answers that. Any other questions? So very sorry for the end of that video. Got a thumbs up. That's good. That's probably means.
Sounds encouraging.
Or a thumbs to the left, technically, because we're in a different mode. So tomorrow I'll watch the time more closely. So, yeah. Any more questions for whoever kind of made it back on? Probably pretty good, because I don't think everyone found their way back. I don't know if we should issue an apology on the story or something like that. No?
We'll just do better next time.
We'll do better next time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rob. We got a great question, Alec. You have to really put your thinking cap on for this one. So it said, how long did it take to grow those impressive beards? Well, I was born with mine.
Yeah, Sonny is he's a maestro.
I was
grown overnight.
Probably, yeah. You talk about the 5 o'clock shot. Actually, no, mine takes a little bit of time. Once it gets going, it takes a while to get going, but once it does, it really takes off. So, I docked mine off from November. That was weird.
Yes, that's as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Robert can grow it pretty quick, and it's pretty thick and curly. A few weeks is not bad for that. That's better than I can do. This has been going on. This fiasco has been going on for a while for me. So, yeah, I had a really long one 2 or 3 years ago, and looking back at pictures, that was just too greasy. I have to blow dry mine too if it gets too long.
Oh, nice.
It's hard being a guy. Oh, that's gonna.
Yeah.
All right. So, thank you for that great question. That's a great question. Where can we watch the videos again? Good question. We can send you a link. Just send a direct message. I don't know the best way to post the link on Instagram, because there's no way to click on the link for the story. We don't have 10,000 followers yet. If we did, then we'd be good to go. So you can just send me a direct message, and I can send you the link itself. That will be the first part of the video. Actually, no, it'll probably be this part of the video too, because we use Zoom for that. So yeah, you can rewatch it as many times as you like. Just don't copy it and sell DVDs of this. We want some of the cut. So sorry again to who's finding us now. We went over an hour, and therefore Instagram cuts the live feed. So
overstayed our welcome.
Sorry to you and the gods of Instagram. We don't want to get on their bad side. Any more questions about the neck, head posture? Anything like that? Sorry, T-Dot. We went over an hour, so our video got cut. Anybody else with any questions? Those are all good questions, especially the beard one. Definitely the most relevant. If I don't have a beard, then I get the headache.
Oh, there you go.
That's a longer solve, though. That's like a 4-week headache to get the beard going, but yeah. So I'll give it another minute if you have any questions. Yeah, those donuts, though. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm thinking about is Rob's donuts he made earlier.
We'll post a picture later on.
Holding this tension release ball is not as fun as a donut.
It's true.
You will post videos and I'll be jealous. It's okay.
Cinnamon sugar and glazed.
So are they fried? Like you just take the batter?
We baked them.
You bake them.
I
Much
mean
healthier.
my wife.
Well, you're a good baker too. I've seen the, I've tried the product.
Yeah,
it was great.
But it's her passion.
Yeah. Thanks. Have a great day. Okay, I think that's probably good. If there's no other points, you can email and direct message. I do have some good discussions with a number of different people. We have a discussion. I don't want to give away who's in charge of the Instagram. Yeah, so let us know if you have any questions, direct message, email. You can give us a shout out on Facebook. Even in the future, actually, if you got like a way to take a picture of you attending this course or doing some of the stretches, do the stretches and share us in it. That'd be kind of cool. We could put it on our story and it would mean a lot to us too. And yeah, look out for some more posts. We'll have a funny one today, which will be done right after this. And yeah, we'll let you guys go. And thanks again. Have a good day, guys. Try to, again, be there for one another. And you know, if you can't see family and things like that, just pick up the phone, call them, Skype them, Zoom them, and just let's all support each other through this. We're going to get through it. And the longer it lasts, the longer you'll see me with Birkenstocks and socks. Yeah. All right, guys. See you later.
Thanks for joining.
And okay, wait, anyway, there we go. You could share it to your story. That's a long video.
It is, yeah.
I'm sorry for the cutout, Rob.
Hey, no, that's okay.
I felt
I
bad.
had no idea that there was a
There, I saw that yesterday, and then we just got in the groove. Me, I was like more like looking around all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Can I throw this in the wash bin?
Yes, sir. Just responding to a couple of questions.
Go for it now.
Let's take a couple of pictures of you quickly before you,
Sounds good, yeah.
if you're okay with that.
Oh, my runner's on? Does it matter?
Well, you'll be running on the treadmill. Yeah, we'll get the runners.
Okay.